Alrighty guys, as promised, this is the rival Khaos. And I said I was going to run it at Namne, and this is the last day before that war, and the rattling around inside of it is driving me crazy. So, let's do it. Nerf Rival Khaos mod guide, go! Step 1, of course, is to remove the stock battery tray, and then start butterflying the blaster open. Let's do it. Alrighty, so here's our first look at the internals. We have all kinds of funky stuff going on. So some pretty huge motors operating not only the conveyor belt here, but also the flywheel system. I don't think we're going to change any of these up. I think that we're going to just see how far we can push these stock motors on a 3S LiPo. So of course we've got our clip kind of lock in here, purely mechanical. Up here we've got some electronic locks, which we're going to completely bypass. These are non-functional. And then we have our mystery here. The thing rattling around was a screw that was inside the shell and yet doing nothing all at the same time. That's kind of obnoxious, truth be told. But we have plenty of space here for a LiPo. This switch is going to need to be completely replaced with one of our cherry switches. And other than that, I think that it's a pretty basic flywheel build. We should be able to make this work without too much muss fuss or problems. Let's lock and load. Okay, so where we're at right now is we've completely isolated the leads on the motor cage itself. You can get a really good look at the motors on this side over here. We left all of the screws in their ports so that it would be really easy to sink this back into place. Then we came in and we isolated the pusher mechanism in its entirety. Now it has a motor here that drives, and I'm trying not to knock the screws out, drives a gearbox inside here, which allows you to actually push balls into the flywheel. Now, all of that is fine and good. I have yet to remove this board from up here just because it's going to be tricky to get to both of these motor terminals, but we're going to make that happen as well. Now, the only other thing to talk about is that there was an electronic lock up here that controlled the jam door. That's now right here. We're going to trash this, and there was one over here which was our clip lock electronically, and we're going to trash that as well. Down here we have a very similar switch controlling our rev, and we're going to, you guessed it, trash that as well. We've also removed the one up here which was controlling the pusher motor, just because we might as well cherry switch the entire system at this point, because that just makes the most sense to me. So let's start building a brand new circuit. The only other thing worth mentioning is that I completely ripped these terminals out, because at this point we're not going to be doing, whoa, so heavy, anything with this battery tray. We will be replacing it with this 3S LiPo, which we will be able to remove in and out from the original jam or battery door rather. And so that is also pretty stupid proof. There was a lot of little orange plasticky pieces that we completely trashed because they're garbaggio, that were the mechanical components of the locks themselves. So that's garbage. We're going to cut out all of this low gauge wiring because it's garbage, and these terminals would have fried anyway with LiPo power. So they are, you guessed it, also garbage. Let's get to work. notice our wiring is actually very clean, very good for the motors itself. Now all we have to do is make sure that we can activate them reliably. Oh, I love that noise. Cherry switches, go! So, at this point in the Chaos Mod Guide, we've been working through the clock. This epoxy putty was PC11, is the worst epoxy putty I've ever used. So we went back to Loctite marine grade epoxy putty, which is excellent. I'll put a link to it in the description box. I love working with this stuff. It cures fast and has just enough workable time, but our switches are now aligned such that I believe that if we put this in just for like testing purposes, all that's left to do is solder an actual connector here, but we have beautiful and this thing is gonna be hot. And with that, it is done, guys. The full modified rival Khaos. I've gone ahead and loaded it up with one full 40 round blast, and let's unload it. It's really, really hot now. Woo! So not only do they hit harder, they also fire faster, and there's no drop off between shots. I absolutely love this mod. I can't wait to take it to a humans versus zombies. I think it's super duper sweet. And then if you'd like to see it in battle against NIC blasters, I've loaded that up on my vlog channel. You can check that out at the link here or in the description box below. It's a full round of me battling against the finest Nerf blasters in the world with this monster. It's interesting, to say the least. While you're there, it would really mean a lot to me if you subscribe to my vlog channel. I work really, really hard on it, and it's much, much smaller than this one, so you can see how that could be a little bit difficult at times. But thank you very much for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed learning how to mod your rival Khaos.